Hey folks, and welcome to They Might Be Homesteading. I get a lot of questions about canning and dehydrating and why I do it and what's the value of it and why do we do all this stuff, so frequently. And so today what I wanted to do is do a video that really shows the power of both dehydrating and canning. So what we've got is we got our crock pot, number one, but number two, we have our pea soup mix. Now, this is a dehydrated mix. We have dried peas along with carrots, celery, chopped onions, and a bag of spices. And the basic recipe, and so here's your bag of spices. It's got bay leaf, it's got parsley, salt, and pepper. So your basic recipe is roughly 4 chopped carrots, 1/2 stalk of celery, chicken broth, water, 2 cloves of garlic minced, onion powder, salt, pepper, the peas, and a bay leaf. Now, most recipes you find are for raw or fresh ingredients. So what I've had to do is I've had to calculate based on dehydrated weights what the correct amounts are. But the beauty of this is I can prep these jars, leave them on the shelf for months. If you've got oxygen absorbers or however you store it, vacuum sealed bags, you can leave it there. So you take an afternoon, say, prep like 10 or 11 of these, and boom, you're done for a while. So all we have to do now to cook this is, number one, take our peas. This should be really tasty. And then take our peas, the rest of our peas, carrots, celery, and onions. If you've never seen what dehydrated foods look like, there's a dehydrated carrot. So there's our dry mix. And I quite frequently separately bag the spices just to make them easier to manage. So all the spices go in there. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to add our chicken broth. And this is chicken broth that I actually made from scratch. Actually in this crock pot, and then used my pressure canner to prep for storage. Always check, make sure everything's good. Add that into the mix. Now, the other 2 ingredients that are in the refrigerator. So, basically speaking, in my kitchen setup, and way that we've done our planning, we still have 2 wet ingredients. One is minced garlic, and the other is the ham, because it's split pea and ham soup. Now, if we had planned better, or had thought this through in advance, we could just as easily have dehydrated our garlic, as well as, believe it or not, you can dehydrate your ham. And this calls for, we put roughly 2 cloves of garlic. We like garlic, so it was one of those things where it's really never too much is too much. And the other thing I'll have to do is I'll have to take the ham, chop it up, throw it in. But at this state, basically we've got all our ingredients together, top it up with the water, cut up the ham, throw it in, set it aside. In the space of 15 minutes, you've done all the prep work, all the cooking for dinner. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and when we come back, we will eat it for dinner, and then I will use my pressure canner to take the leftovers, because this is a 6-quart, fairly epic sized crock pot. So we'll be able to take all the leftovers, can them up in pint jars, and have split pea soup for whenever we want it. So hey folks, it's now dinner time, so this has been sitting in the crock pot all day long on low. Haven't had to do anything to it. We're coming in now, giving it a good stir up, make sure everything's mixed up. Now with old-fashioned pea soup, there's 2 different ways to do the final soup. You can either just leave it as is with the chunks of carrots and stuff in it, which is the way I've got it today, or if you've got a hand mixer, you can set the hand mixer in there and chop everything up so it's more of a puree type soup. So now that we've got everything stirred up, we'll go ahead and serve it out. And here you can see the carrots, and the ham. And so everyone will get some of that for supper. And then once we're done with supper, I will take what's left and we will can it in the pressure canner. And for now, I'm starving, so I'm going to go eat. Bye. Okay folks, well we've had supper now, so I feel a little bit better. So what we're going to do is take the rest of this soup and put it into our canning jars. We've still got a fair amount of it in our slow cooker here, so just go ahead and start ladling it out. And if you're kind of new to pressure cooking, unlike water bath, you need to leave a fair bit of head space. And here I'm leaving about an inch of head space, which if you use the measuring tool, takes you basically right to the bottom down there. Wipe any bits off. And go ahead and set it in my pressure canner. And I've got a number of these to do, so rather than have you, sit there and stare at me as I fill these things, we will come back when we're ready to lock up the pressure cooker. Okay, all the jars are done. They're sitting there in the pressure cooker. I'm going to put the lid on. With this particular one, you just going to line it up with the gap there, slide it over. And the trick to tightening these guys up is to tighten up opposite sides at the same time. That way it sets down even. So, now once you've got them all sort of snugged up, go ahead and crank them down. There we go. Fire it up. So now all we have to do is go sit and watch TV while we wait for this thing to warm up. Oh, forget my weight. Because the soup's got ham in it, we've got to process it for ham times, which is 75 minutes for quarts, no, pints. 75 minutes for pints. So we're going to do that. So this is going to heat up. We're going to start to hear the weight jiggle. Once the weight starts jiggling, I know it's at pressure. Because of our altitude here, we're using 15 pounds. So I'll bring the temperature back down again, and it'll rattle itself away for 70 minutes or so, and then when we're done, we will have beautifully canned split pea soup that we can then eat anytime we want. So yeah, we'll let this go, and we'll come back when it's done and show you what the output looks like. So here our pressure cooker has, our pressure canner has completed its time, and it's been fully vented, so it should be safe to open now. And these things can get ridiculously hot. So, as seen on TV, of gloves are perfect for dealing with this thing. Oh, there we go. And let's see what we ended up with. There we go. Homemade tomato soup. Or tomato soup. Ugh, I'm getting tired. Split pea soup. Now the great thing about this whole deal is basically 15 minutes of work this morning to set it all out. 15 minutes to put the kit together the first time to dehydrate. But, I've gone from a couple of jars of dried goods this morning to
a number of nicely canned pints of soup at the end of the day, and we even got a dinner out of the deal. All this for basically an hour's worth of work. I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 pints that I will be able to, we'll be able to just pull off the shelf, throw in a bowl, and throw in the microwave. So this is why I really like combining canning and dehydrating. I think that doing one or the other is just fine. However, you really get the value of this stuff when you start to leverage both of them. And so now we're just going to wait for those to go ping, and good night.